Campsite Tales, The Phantom Campfire. Mia leaned forward, her eyes gleaming with excitement as the firelight danced across her face. The anticipation in the air was palpable as she began her story. Alright, listen up, because this is a tale that will send shivers down your spine. It's called The Phantom Campfire. The group, already on edge from Alex's story, leaned in closer, their attention fully captured by Mia's commanding presence. It all started with a group of scouts, Mia narrated, her voice taking on a mysterious, almost hypnotic tone. They were camping in a remote part of the forest, far from civilization, where the trees towered like ancient sentinels, and the only sounds were the crackle of the fire and the occasional hoot of an owl. They were roasting marshmallows, sharing stories, and laughing around their campfire, blissfully unaware of what was lurking in the darkness. The fire crackled softly, adding a rhythm to Mia's words, each pop of the wood making the group jump slightly. On that first night, Mia continued, her voice dropping to a near whisper, as the flames burned low and the shadows grew long, one of the scouts, a boy named Ethan, noticed something strange. There, through the thick trees, he saw another campfire flickering in the distance, its light barely visible through the dense foliage. Gasps of surprise and intrigue rippled through the group, the idea of another campfire in the isolated forest sending a chill down their spines. Curiosity got the best of them, Mia went on, her voice tinged with suspense, and despite the uneasy feeling gnawing at their stomachs, they decided to investigate. They grabbed their flashlights, their beams cutting through the inky darkness, and made their way through the thick underbrush, the branches scraping against their arms like skeletal fingers. The group was silent, their eyes wide as they envisioned the scene Mia was painting. The firelight flickered, casting eerie shadows on the surrounding trees. As they approached the other campfire, Mia narrated, her voice trembling ever so slightly, they saw a group of people sitting around it. But something was off, the figures were completely still, their bodies rigid, their faces expressionless and pale as if they were carved from stone. The only movement came from the flickering flames that cast unnatural, twisted shadows across their faces. The fire seemed to burn a little dimmer as Mia described the eerie scene, the darkness around the group growing more oppressive. Suddenly, Mia continued, her voice sharp and sudden, the fire at the Phantom Campfire went out, plunging the area into complete darkness. The scouts froze, their breath caught in their throats, and when they turned on their flashlights, the figures were gone. Vanished. Not a single trace of them or the campfire remained. The group shuddered, the fear creeping in as they imagined the terror the scouts must have felt in that moment. Terrified, they ran back to their own campsite, Mia narrated, her voice filled with the panic and desperation of the scouts. But when they arrived, they found their campfire had been extinguished as well, and their supplies, everything from their tents to their food, had been scattered, like someone or something had ransacked their camp in a fit of rage. A hushed silence fell over the group, the crackling fire the only sound as Mia built up the suspense. The next morning, Mia revealed, her voice carrying the weight of the supernatural encounter, they discovered strange, unidentifiable footprints leading away from their campsite and into the woods. They were too large and misshapen to be human, and they seemed to fade into the earth as if whatever had left them had simply vanished. The fire crackled, sending a few stray sparks into the air as Mia concluded her story. The scouts didn't waste any time. They packed up and left immediately, vowing never to return to that cursed part of the forest. And years later, they learned that many campers had reported seeing phantom campfires in those very woods, always followed by strange occurrences, and sometimes missing campers. The group sat in silence, the ghostly tale of the phantom campfire lingering in the air, like a haunting melody. The once cozy fire now seemed like a beacon in the dark, a fragile light against the encroaching shadows. Mia's storytelling had the group on edge, their imaginations running wild with visions of phantom campfires and eerie encounters deep in the woods. As the fire crackled and the night grew colder, Mia paused, allowing the tension to sink into the very bones of her listeners. "That was intense," Rachel finally exclaimed, her voice cutting through the thick silence that had settled over the group. "But you know what? I've got a story that'll send chills down your spine, one to end the night on a real scare." Excited murmurs and nods of agreement rippled through the group, their fear temporarily forgotten as Rachel prepared to share her own tale. "Alright, gather round, everyone," Rachel began, her voice low and melodious, perfect for spinning a ghostly yarn. "This story is called The Phantom Train. Join us next time for the final tale of the camping trip as Rachel tells the story of the Phantom Train. Like and subscribe for more creepy tales.